This video is brought to you by Virtual Shield's VPN service. A VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and it's basically an app that you install on your computer or mobile device that encrypts your information and protects it from hackers and greedy websites trying to track your data. Having a VPN can save you from instances like your credit card information being found or somebody hacking into your home security system. Cheap, helpful, extremely easy to use. Check out Virtual Shield's VPN on sale now. Links will be in the description below. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jordan Sather reporting for duty here on Tuesday, June 16th, and ooh, feels good to be back here again, giving you my thoughts, my perspectives on the state of this crazy world, and stirring that shit. Professionally. That's what Rolling Stone said. Professional shit stir. So anyway, in this one, we're just going to be talking about the coronavirus, some stuff going on with these protests, some alien articles in the mainstream media, how the FDA is screwing us yet again. Back to normal business, my friends. And I hope you like this setup. I think it looks better. I think it sounds better. I'm more comfortable. I'm standing up. I like standing when I'm talking more than sitting, because it's tough to, I don't know, more comfortable for me. So anyway, let's get into these articles. Let's talk about what the fake news has been peddling us in the last few days. First, let's talk about this second wave of the coronavirus. Second wave, COVID 2.0. Great. So I guess these race riots failed. People are getting bored of that, waking up to it. So now they got to go back to the coronavirus. And as you've seen in the mainstream media over the past few days, they've been saying that there's these new rise in cases, more cases than we've ever seen across America. They're trying to blame it on, I don't know, like the Memorial Day gatherings and things like that. They won't admit that these protests might be the cause, if there's even any new cases. Part of me is like, probably not even any new cases. They're just saying the data says that so they can get us back into another lockdown. It's absolutely absurd. So the media is saying there's new cases. They're blaming it on whatever they can. And I just saw today that Beijing, in China, Beijing is undergoing a now second lockdown. So major cities in China are starting to lock down again. And no doubt the mainstream media is going to try to use that angle to start selling the idea of locking down again here in the U.S. It's all horseshit, folks. It's all horseshit. I'm happy to say that I have not worn a mask once since this whole nonsense started, except a Trump mask for a photo op. That was about it. So anyway, be aware of that second wave propaganda coming. Now let's move on into the protests. These protests. So, holy shit. I don't know if you saw this video going pretty viral yesterday, but in that, oh God, what are they calling it in Seattle now? The Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, there was this black woman there yesterday, and she was schooling the shit out of these people over Black Lives Matter and over the true history of the Republican and Democrat parties and how it was actually the Democrats that were the slave owners 150, 200 years ago. And then it was the Republican Party that was formed to be anti-slavery. You can check the link down below, check the description to watch the rest, but damn, she schools some Karens. That's an educated woman right there. And she was saying that she does not support Black Lives Matter because why? Because all of that money goes to who knows where. Basically, politicians are using Black Lives Matter for their own political and monetary financial gains. And all the people supporting Black Lives Matter and putting the black posts on their Instagram profiles and out in the streets wearing the BLM shit, they have no idea. They have no idea how race is being used to promote propaganda. And also, basically, a bunch of politicians right now are using race as a fundraising scheme. So it's just sad, sad stuff, man. Black Lives Matter as a statement, sure, yeah, absolutely. Black Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, all of them do. But Black Lives Matter as an organization, no, I can't get behind it. I can't get behind it at all. Just go to their website and it tells you what their 2020 goals and focuses are. 80% of what BLM says it's focusing on this year has nothing to do with race. Climate change and healthcare and disinformation during the election cycle and all this stuff. That's what's on literally their website that says their goals are. And And that has nothing to do with race. So it's crazy. Anyway, good video here. That was a good clip. Still on the subject of these protests and Black Lives Matter and whatnot. Today, Donald Trump, I believe he's even speaking like right now about this. He's signing an executive order on policing to, quote, build trust in the law enforcement in this country. Because it's just unfortunate that we have such a lying shit mainstream media. They're pumping out all this propaganda, getting people divided over race, pitting blacks against whites, against Asians and all that stuff, and trying to pit people against the police force too, the law enforcement community. And it's such a sad state of things. Granted, I can understand Trump doing this. It's a very smart move to do. Kind of has to do it. There are some reforms that I think we do need in our law enforcement community, but I do not think at all we should be defunding them. Like these crazy cities, New York, Minneapolis, LA, talking about defunding them, taking away this and that, and moving the money to community programs. It's like crazy, crazy stuff that people are talking about there. I do not agree with that at all. But no doubt, there are problems here and there sprinkled throughout the law enforcement world. There are some bad apples, and we need a little bit of reform. But at the same time, all the people out there screaming defund need to think about this logically. 99.9% of cops I've ever met in my life were great people. When I was personal training and strength coaching years back, I had a few clients that were cops and firefighters. Great people. Awesome. But, so defunding, I don't know. Stupid. Really, really stupid. Moving on now, speaking of Minnesota, speaking of where the heck does all that money donated to Black Lives Matter and organizations like that go? So, the Minnesota Freedom Fund. If you hadn't heard about this was created a few weeks back when the protests really first started. And this Minnesota Freedom Fund was getting a lot of donations. And what they were doing was bailing out protesters with it. Bailing out the ones doing criminal shit, not protesters, but they were bailing out the rioters. They were bailing out the people who were getting arrested for arson or looting or assault on people or cops or whatever the case, Literally bailing out the criminals. Beautiful, right? Well, anyway, Minnesota Freedom Fund yesterday tweeted this right here. Without jeopardizing the safety of the folks we bailed out, we paid well over $200,000 in weeks since the uprising alone. We're working on doing more. So, putting that money to bail out people doing weird shit during these protests sounds awful enough, right? But here's the kicker. A couple of weeks ago, it was reported in the mainstream media, even in like the New York Times itself, that this Minnesota Freedom Fund fundraised $20 million. That was the number they were throwing out, $20 million. So, where's all that money? $20 million? They've only used $200,000 to bail out protesters. Here's another thing to add on to that. It was found that Minnesota Freedom Fund, the platform they use to take in their donations, is, lo and behold, surprising, Act Blue. Ha! Act Blue. Act Blue, it's been called the PayPal for Democrats, basically, because it's their main platform that they use to fundraise with. And Act Blue, there's just really shady ways that it's registered as it's not really a nonprofit. I can't remember exactly how, but it's registered in a way to where essentially the donations that Act Blue brings in, if they're not claimed or if they don't go out, Act Blue can give it to whoever the hell they want. And all these Democrat politicians have gotten millions of dollars, some hundreds of millions, through fundraising from Act Blue. And we don't know where that money came from. It doesn't necessarily say. It just says how much they got from Act Blue through fundraising. So I'm sitting here like, man, $19.8 million floating around there somewhere that the Minnesota Freedom Fund had. And what Democrat politician got that, right? So there's one example of them using race, using these protests, using all this crap going on to fundraise. It's absurd. All right, so that's enough on COVID. That's enough on these protests. Let's talk about some things that set Twitter abuzz yesterday, set the internet abuzz. One was an alleged DDoS attack that they say hit like all of America. Bunch of telecommunications companies, internet providers, things like that. It was really weird. And I don't really know exactly what went on. Like I said, a lot of people were alleging at first that it was this massive DDoS attack. And then Anonymous. Oh, great. Anonymous. Basically, I don't know, a Twitter owned and operated or some CIA front organization, total controlled op now. Anonymous said that it was a DDoS attack on Twitter. But some cybersecurity experts and people that have been in the industry for a while came out and said that it wasn't like a normal DDoS attack. It was, a lot of things going down, and DDoS attacks, denial of service attacks, if you don't know what they are, denial of service attacks happen all the time. So might not have really been some giant target attack. You got to be careful with what comes from Anonymous. You have to be careful. And Twitter basically pumps Anonymous with so many bots, so much artificial boosting, inflation, we could say, that when Anonymous tweets something, it shows up in that trending section really quick. And they can use Anonymous to get stuff trending and out into kind of the Twitter consciousness, the society on Twitter there, and then, of course, out into the rest of the world. It moves there from Twitter to other social media and out into other news. So got to be careful with Anonymous. It's actually a big red flag, red alert going off there to be aware of. And another red flag that we have going around on Twitter yesterday, something else that was setting it abuzz. Malik Obama, that is Barack Obama, his half-brother. So Malik Obama, which a lot of people have had eyes on for a while because he's been posting very weird things, like very suggestive, conspiratorial type stuff, even hinting to QAnon in the past, putting out the WWG, 1WGA, where we go when we go all, hashtag. And yesterday he put out what looks to be a screenshot, and a lot of people thought that it was a screenshot of Barack Obama's real birth certificate. Malik Obama just said, "What's this?" And then it went viral as crap. You can see now it's got 40,000, maybe even more retweets, and it trended. And again, it went everywhere, off of Twitter onto other social media and into the news. Now, here's the thing. So for those that didn't get caught up by this and took a step back and went, okay, let's dig into this, let's fact check first, they're the ones who are the smart ones here. Because when you fact check this document, as some keen eyes, some sleuths out there have noticed, it's dated August 1961. The country of origin on this birth certificate says Republic of Kenya down there at the bottom. The Republic of Kenya wasn't officially formed until December 1964. So there is solid evidence pointing to this being a fake and being a hoax. All right? So, fact check before you share stuff like that, right? Could do you well in the long run. And number two, let's talk about Malik Obama. A lot of eyes have been on him for a long time. I believe Q, even a few months back, linked a tweet of his once upon a time. Personally, let me just ask you the logical questions that are going on in my mind, okay? Rhetorically. Malik Obama's got a blue check mark on Twitter, and, more than that, he still has his Twitter account. How you gonna go posting stuff like this for months and months and months, Q-related content, conspiratorial stuff? How's Obama's half-brother still gonna have his Twitter account, number one, and number two, have the blue check mark? So it just kind of stinks, you know? It just kind of stinks. Don't know if we're dealing with somebody honest here or somebody who may unknowingly be putting out misinformation. We call those people useful idiots. Or knowingly putting out misinformation. We call those controlled opposition. So, again, careful with your sources. You can never jump on something. Don't jump on something without verifying, without checking facts over and over again. And also don't attach yourself to those people, those pundits, those personalities on the internet that you have no idea who they are. You have no idea who they are. You've never met them before in your life. You don't know where they're getting their money from. You don't know what their intention is. So, anyway, we're going to talk more about the clickbait stuff towards the end of the video. Just wanted to make you aware of those viral things going around. Now, moving on into a few other things, and we'll finish up. How about an Oklahoma State running back quitting? He quit his program, quit his university, because his coach wore a One America News shirt. That's like the height of cancel culture. I don't know how you can get worse than that. He literally quit playing running back at Oklahoma State. I guarantee you he had a full ride doing that. And he had beautiful life set up for him. Probably NFL prospect. Who knows? But Chuba Hubbard is his name. Chuba Hubbard. He saw his coach wear a One America News shirt in a photograph on Facebook. He tweeted this: "I will not stand for it," he says. "This is completely insensitive to everything going on in society, and it's unacceptable. I will not be doing anything with Oklahoma State until things change." Until my coach changes, I think he means. Changes out of that One America News shirt. I don't know. Kick him off the team. Like, dude must have some brain damage from all that football he's been playing to literally get triggered over a One America News shirt. It's not like One America News is ISIS or Al-Qaeda or anything racist or terroristic or even Antifa or something like that. Like, it's just a news network. One America News. Frankly, I'm surprised that Chuba Hubbard even knew that One America News was. Like, I'm surprised he recognized what OAN is, but this is bad. People are really that brain dead. Okay, let's move on now to talking the NIH and the FDA and three-letter organizations within our government that are corrupt and have to do with healthcare. So first, let's talk NIH. This news broke a couple of days ago, but I didn't really see it shared much until yesterday, and I didn't come across it until yesterday. 54 scientists have lost their jobs as a result of an NIH, that's the National Institute of Health, probe into foreign ties. And this article goes on to say 54 scientists have resigned or been fired. Resign, as we know, means forced out, as a result of an ongoing investigation by the NIH into the failure of NIH grantees to disclose financial ties to foreign governments. 93% of these cases were hidden funding that came from China. 93%. Holy shit. And then in this next paragraph here, it says they did a lot of investigation. They started this investigation in August of 2018, so almost 2 years ago. And it's roiled the biomedical community, which, fantastic. Scientific communities all across America need to be roiled right now. Not just biomedical. And it's resulted in criminal charges against some prominent researchers, including, that name might be familiar to you, Charles Lieber, chair of Harvard University's Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology. That was the guy that was indicted in January. That was the chemist from Harvard University that was taking like 50 grand a month from China in their 1,000 Talents program. Did not disclose that to Harvard. At least that's what they say. And he had ties to, where of all places, Wuhan, China. Wuhan. He was going to a university in Wuhan for a couple of years. A few years back, 2016, 17. And he was being paid by China to train their people. Charles Lieber. So, anyway, and there's a lot more scientists out there taking money from foreign governments. You think scientists are honest? All scientists? You think just because somebody wears a white lab coat that they're super duper smart and they have your best interests in mind? If you think your news is fake, try science, man. It's so easy to fudge a study, and studies are fudged all the time for corporate interest, to get a grant. I mean, truly, you look through different scientific communities. If you don't do the study that the grantee wants you to do and get the result that they want you to do, you're not going to get the grant. Look at how these vaccine studies are done, all these GMO studies. And we could go down the list. If you don't do what the corporate people or the grantee or the government or whoever's paying for the study wants you to do, they won't give you the money. And it's real easy to, take out a couple outliers or just manipulate the graphs or the statistics in a way to make it look like exactly what you want to make it look like. Plus, okay, we can take this conversation further really quickly here. There are corrupt scientists out there who are knowingly blackmailed or taken money, paid off, whatever the case. But there's a lot of useful idiots. Bringing that term back into this, there's a lot of useful idiot scientists out there too who are just building assumptions and theories based off false foundations and other false assumptions and false theories. And it just gets compounded and compounded upon each other. And this happens again in multiple different topics and areas and aspects of science where they just have bad foundations. Like they're just going off something that's fake and they don't realize it. And then they're building complex, intricate theories based off something that was wrong in the first place. So, important to be aware of. Moving on from the NIH into the FDA. The FDA revokes emergency authorization of hydroxychloroquine. Huh. The FDA. FDA. Good news here is that this is going to wake people the hell up when it comes to the FDA. There's still a lot of people that have yet to really see the corruption within like the USDA and the FDA and the CDC and the NIH and whatnot, the health agencies in this country. Still a lot of people have catching up to do there in terms of learning about the corruption in those agencies, but this will wake people up. People aren't happy about this. I even saw Hillary Clinton tweet that we should essentially trust the FDA, but don't trust Donald Trump, and she tweeted this news story. So people are going to see that and be like, man, if Hillary Clinton wants us to trust the FDA, I better not trust the damn FDA. When Hillary Clinton's promoting vaccines, ooh, I'm never going to get a shot in my life. Sometimes the FDA is called the Fraud and Death Administration for a very good reason. So anyway, the FDA revoked that emergency use authorization, for hydroxychloroquine. And it's great that hydroxychloroquine is waking people up and whatnot, but if you think how the FDA and the medical experts in this country have treated HCQ, that's just a drop in the bucket to how the FDA treats other information, other healing remedies, treats, holistic doctors, right? How many holistic doctors in the last 5 to 10 years? It doesn't happen quite as much anymore, but during Obama's second term there, 2014 to 16, 17 even, how many holistic doctors and holistic health researchers went missing? And you would be shocked. You might know, you might not know, but you would be shocked at how many just natural health advocates and raw milk farmers and different remedies that the FDA and Big Pharma has come down on. They lie, they censor, they try to sue and litigate into submission. There's a lot of ways the medical mafia works. Bad stuff. And same topic, then we'll move on into talking UFOs and finish up here. But still on the coronavirus and drugs having to do with it, drugs that looks to be the mainstream media and Big Pharma is pushing. Just saw this news article a couple of hours ago. I think it's being printed by BBC and then pumped by Reuters. So if you see it in American media, I think this is coming from England first because it has to do with, I think, studies coming out of Oxford. But anyway, that's why it's originating from there. That's not the point. The point being, this drug that they're pushing is called dexamethasone. It is a steroid drug, and they're saying it's proving to be the first life-saving drug. As if no lives were saved by hydroxychloroquine. As if no lives were saved by the, quote, disinfectant that I have been very heavily attacked and censored for talking about, and Trump even made a slight reference to, and he was attacked everywhere, and, you know, the bleach. Let me tell you, some lives have been saved even by that disinfectant. Across the board, man. It's pathetic when you see articles like this. Oh, yeah, it's the first major breakthrough against the deadly virus. Bullshit. They're literally telling you what to think. There's many breakthroughs already out there. They're cheap, they're readily available. And this is an injectable steroid. They want to inject you with a steroid to treat the coronavirus. When I'm sitting here scratching my head, like, don't steroids suppress your immune system? So how in the heck is dexamethasone gonna help all that much? At least as much as they're saying. They're saying it's gonna be a breakthrough. I'm sitting here thinking, let's look at the companies that own the patents on this, and let's see who's been buying their stock lately. Sad. So sad that that's the state of healthcare in our world, not just America, but this happens around the world when we have, it's not healthcare, it's sick care. It's disease management because they just want to make a buck off you. And if you're healthy and don't need your doctor or pharmaceuticals, they're not going to make a buck off you. So what's the best way to get people or get money from people in terms of their health? Get them sick, get them coming back for more, get your yearly shots, got to get your coronavirus vaccines. You're not going to be protected. Ooh, fear, fear, fear. Got to get your drugs every month. Don't touch anything that's natural because, oh, it's unproven. Fuck, man. Anyway, okay. Last couple of things here. Let's talk UFOs. So this article's been going around, pretty viral. Last day, there are 36 intelligent alien civilizations in our galaxy, say scientists. Another one of those, quote, study says that this and this and this. So, on one hand, it's good that articles like this are getting exposed to a mainstream audience. People are going to be more open to the idea instead of really ridicule it and shove it away into the back of their mind. Second thing to say about this is that, kind of like I was mentioning earlier, scientists build kind of flawed theories and flawed assumptions based off other flawed theories and assumptions. I think that's kind of what's going on here. In, you read this article, you read the stories on this subject, and there's a lot of certain assumptions that they calculated into this to get that 36 or around 36-ish number. Personally, I would say it's probably a hell of a lot more than that. There are at least 100 billion, if not 200 to 300 billion stars just in our galaxy. And really, life is a lot more prevalent throughout the cosmos than I think people realize. Water is abundant. Water is found everywhere. Electricity, of course, is the substrate to our universe. You combine electricity with water, it's not that tough to start getting double helixes forming in DNA. Anyway, a lot of science behind that for another time. I would peg the number to be far more than this. And last thing I'm going to say on the subject of UFOs before we move on. Okay, so people are getting sick of the race riots. They're waking up to that. People are getting sick of coronavirus, and they'll definitely get sick of coronavirus 2.0. They're going to wake up to that. So what is the next distraction going to be? What are they grilling up? What are they prepping and warming? What are those October surprises that Q referenced a week or two back that the deep state's cooking up to distract us with? To weaponize and propagandize against people waking up and against the current presidential administration. It's going to be one of those weird subjects. It's going to have to do with UFOs. Just like they've been beating that same horse since December 2017 when the New York Times put out that article. You already know, and I bet you it's going to come out of the New York Times. I bet you within like 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe sometime in July, the New York Times is going to print some article. It's going to be a rehash, and maybe those boring freaking videos, or might be something new, but it won't be really breakthrough. And they're just going to try to distract people with it. They might have something to do with Tom DeLonge, their poster child for this limited hangout, half-truth disclosure. It's going to be weird. So, point being, the deep state wants to weaponize that for their propaganda. The white hats are going to have to, or it'd be a good idea at least, to try to get ahead of that story and start getting disclosure out there in various different ways. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. I don't know if they're going to do it through Q. I don't know if they might try to battle that war for disclosure through another source. Check this out. Donald Trump Jr. tweeted just this morning talking about how he's going to be having a fun conversation with POTUS, President Trump, his dad, on Thursday night. I don't know where. I'll figure it out and let you guys know. But check it out. Check it out, that last line. I may or may not ask at real Donald Trump about aliens. He's totally joking, but holy crap, I Sure hope he's not joking. I don't know. I seriously don't know what I would want asked to President Trump more. If it was UFOs or QAnon. That would be like the top two things that I'd want to ask. But anyway, it'd be interesting to see if he does sort of jokingly approach that subject. But again, nevertheless, back to the point I was just making, the white hats are going to have to try to get ahead of that story, or it'd be a good idea to, or maybe they will, maybe not. Maybe they'll just let the deep state try to rush out some UFO story to the public and then let that wake people up, but crush them in the information war in the long run. We'll see. Who knows? But, I mean, last week it was fast radio bursts yet again. New fast radio bursts were found. This week it's some study saying that, oh, there could be 36 intelligent ET civilizations in our cosmos. And, you know, who knows what next week will bring, but it's like they're pumping. They're keeping it in people's subconscious. They're keeping people thinking about it because very soon, boom, they'll pull a big card. You know, there'll be some big story that'll get everywhere. New York Times, shared WAPO, CNN, whatnot. And they'll try to use that card to distract us. So, you know, you already know I'm ready for that one. You already know I've been like one of the main people talking shit about that, about all the UFO disclosure false flag that we've been getting for the last few years. So, most definitely ready. And then the last article I have for you guys here is something that came out of Reuters, fake news media. They said, fact check, 35,000, quote, malnourished and caged children were not recently rescued from tunnels by the U.S. military. Yeah, that was an actual article that the mainstream media had to go and fact check, okay? You've probably heard of those clickbait rumors that have been getting spread around for the last couple of months. You know, it's like there's a new wave or you hear of a new rumor that goes viral. And it started, you know, months ago, but it was the idea that hundreds of thousands at one point, that was one number that was thrown out there, like 100,000 kids were secretly rescued from tunnels under New York and brought to the surface. And some people were saying, oh, they're going to get loaded on those naval hospital ships that were there. Never happened. I don't, you know, so many of these people have their inside sources and their whatever their sources or their insiders say, and it never pans out, or very little of it does, and most of it's just clickbait, sensationalized, actual fake news. And this is why you have to be careful, folks, is because that clickbait that people, I guess, just don't want to verify or don't want to fact check, or they're fine sharing it around even though it hasn't been verified or proven true. You're literally giving ammunition to the fake news to run articles like this. You see? Clickbait claim goes viral. Clickbait claim is fake news. Never happens. Later on down the road, mainstream media can run an article like this. So everybody goes, oh, stupid conspiracy theorists. Oh. They'll believe anything. And I mean, sometimes some of you conspiracy theorists out there do believe everything. And that's why I just want to like, fact check, you know, verify twice. Don't just believe it and share it because all your favorite people on the internet did, right? Even some of the best and brightest out there, the people who we think are the best and brightest, get caught by the fake news from time to time. So be careful, everybody. Check, verify, do it twice. And if you do share something that is a theory or a speculation or has not been proven, you better say that when you share that opinion or share that information. So there we go, guys. That's the video for today. Thank you for watching. Much appreciated. If you like this content, make sure you like this video, subscribe, hit that button down below. Go check the description box for all my links, my website, my newsletter, all that jazz down there. And I'll be seeing you guys again soon. Thanks, everybody. It's good to be back.